Over 2.8 million working-age Brits are not working not because they're lazy, but because the system is quietly shutting them out. Job boards are flooded, but most listings are fake or already filled. Qualified people are applying every day and hearing nothing, not even a rejection. Meanwhile, AI is silently replacing office workers, apprenticeships are vanishing, and wages from gig jobs have dropped by 20%. What if the real crisis isn't unemployment, but a broken job market pretending to be fine? In this video, we're exposing 10 hidden reasons why Britain's workforce is collapsing. Some of them will genuinely shock you, and chances are, they're already affecting you, your friends, or your future. Let's pull back the curtain and show what no one's saying. Number 1. The rise of ghost jobs. The job market might look healthy on paper, but behind the scenes, ghost jobs are haunting thousands of applicants. These are positions that appear active on job boards but were never meant to be filled. Companies post them to gather resumes, create the illusion of growth, or even keep current employees on their toes. It's a deceptive practice that clutters the market and wastes job seekers' time. Research by Clarify Capital found that 68% of hiring managers admitted to listing jobs they had no plans to hire for, causing widespread confusion and frustration. The problem worsens when automated systems send rejection emails instantly, giving the illusion that applicants didn't meet the criteria when, in fact, no one was ever going to be hired. This erodes trust in the hiring process and damages mental well-being. Imagine applying for dozens of roles every week, tailoring each cover letter, only to realize the jobs were never real. It creates a cycle of false hope, especially for those in urgent need of income or stability. Worse still, these listings push legitimate openings further down the search results, reducing visibility for actual opportunities. Ghost jobs also distort economic data. When job boards report high vacancy numbers, it masks the reality. Far fewer companies are actively hiring than statistics suggest. Economists rely on vacancy trends to analyze labor market health, but ghost postings inflate these figures. The illusion of demand leads policymakers to make decisions based on a skewed understanding of employment conditions. As a result, real unemployment issues remain unaddressed, while job seekers continue chasing shadows. It's not just a tech glitch, it's a systemic problem that's silently eroding Britain's job market from the inside out. Number 2. Remote work preferences versus in-office policies. There's a quiet standoff unfolding in Britain's job market, and it's centered around one key issue: where people want to work versus where they're expected to work. After the pandemic normalized remote work, many workers embraced the flexibility and freedom it offered. A 2024 survey by CIPD revealed that 75% of UK employees prefer remote or hybrid work arrangements. Despite this overwhelming preference, a growing number of companies are mandating full-time office returns, citing collaboration, culture, and productivity as justifications. This disconnect is leaving countless roles unfilled, not because there aren't qualified candidates, but because the location requirements feel outdated. For job seekers, this means facing an impossible choice: accept a role that requires a daily commute, higher transport costs, and reduced family time, or stay unemployed. Especially in expensive urban centers like London and Manchester, commuting adds hundreds of pounds per month in expenses. For parents, carers, or those with health issues, the cost is even greater, measured in well-being and work-life balance. Many are choosing to sit out, hoping for remote opportunities that match their skills, creating a growing mismatch between open roles and willing workers. This tension is also contributing to higher turnover. Candidates reluctantly accept in-office jobs, only to quit within months in search of remote flexibility. Businesses, in turn, face ongoing disruptions from constant rehiring. The refusal to adapt is creating a deadlock in the labor market, where both sides are losing. Workers are clear about their needs, and yet, many employers remain stuck in pre-2020 thinking. Until this rift is acknowledged and addressed, the UK job market will continue to spin its wheels, positions available, talent ready, but neither side willing to bend. Number 3. AI is quietly replacing mid-level jobs. While public attention often focuses on robots taking over warehouses, the real AI disruption is happening in offices. Artificial intelligence is now automating tasks once done by mid-level professionals. Think data analysts, insurance processors, junior accountants, and legal assistants. These roles, once considered stable and respectable, are quietly disappearing. A 2023 McKinsey report estimated that 30% of UK work activities could be automated by 2030, but the transition is already underway. Companies are using AI tools to streamline operations, cut costs, and increase efficiency, often without making headlines or public announcements. For workers in these roles, the shift is happening faster than they can kill. One day you're building spreadsheets and generating reports. The next, a machine learning model is doing it in seconds. The problem isn't just job loss, but job invisibility. Many of these roles vanish without fanfare. They're not listed in layoffs or announcements. They simply aren't refilled when someone leaves. Job seekers in affected sectors find fewer listings, more competition, and less clarity about what skills are now valuable. Even new grads entering these industries are facing a moving target. This slow erosion is dangerous because it doesn't look like a crisis until it is. The impact of automation is diffused and hidden, but it's stacking up. Entire segments of the workforce are being left behind, not because they lack drive or ability, but because the market is evolving faster than they can keep pace. And without targeted upskilling programs, AI will continue to hollow out the job ladder, especially in roles that once offered a path to long-term career growth. The middle of the job market is being squeezed, and not enough people are talking about it. Number 4. Overqualification epidemic. In today's UK job market, having more education doesn't always open more doors, it can actually shut them. A growing number of job seekers are now victims of overqualification. With university attendance at record highs and postgraduate degrees becoming more common, many highly educated individuals are applying for roles that don't require advanced credentials. This has created a talent pileup, where PhD holders compete for entry-level admin jobs and master's graduates are rejected for being too experienced. Instead of standing out, their qualifications become red flags. Employers fear that overqualified candidates will become bored, demand higher pay, or leave as soon as something better comes along. As a result, these applicants often find themselves stuck between job levels, not considered for junior roles, yet lacking the exact experience needed for senior ones. It's a frustrating paradox: too qualified to start at the bottom, too inexperienced to start at the top. Meanwhile, those without degrees are pushed further out of the market, as more advanced applicants dominate even the simplest job postings. This overqualification crisis is also affecting mental health and motivation. Many workers feel they've wasted years and money on education that isn't opening doors. It creates resentment toward the system, fuels underemployment, and leads to career stagnation. What's worse, government data rarely captures this nuance. A job is counted as filled, even if it doesn't match the worker's level of training. That makes it harder to see the real picture: a bloated, misaligned labor market where education isn't translating into opportunity and frustration is growing on all sides. Until job structures are rethought, overqualification will remain a silent choke point. Number 5. Broken hiring systems. Modern hiring is increasingly controlled by algorithms, not humans, and it's creating more problems than it solves. Most large UK companies now rely on applicant tracking systems, ATS, to filter resumes before they're even seen by a recruiter. These systems scan for specific keywords, job titles, and formatting styles, often rejecting qualified candidates who simply didn't use the right terms. A Harvard Business School report found that millions of workers globally are being filtered out despite having the experience and skills required. In the UK, this tech-first approach is leaving thousands of job seekers locked out before they even begin. What's especially damaging is how invisible the rejection feels. Job seekers spend hours crafting their CVs and applying only to hear nothing. Many don't realize their application never reached a human. If you miss a keyword, upload the wrong file type, or don't list a skill exactly as written in the posting, you're automatically rejected. It's not just disheartening, it's deeply inefficient. Companies end up missing great talent, and workers are told they're not good enough when in fact, the system is broken. Even more alarming, these systems reinforce bias. If past hires shared a certain background, the algorithm learns to prefer those profiles, making it harder for diverse candidates to break through. This turns hiring into a loop of sameness, locking out fresh perspectives. And because these systems are rarely audited or updated, the flaws persist unchecked. Until companies rethink their reliance on automated gatekeeping, Britain's job market will remain an opaque maze, where qualified workers are invisible, and the best candidate isn't always the one who gets the job, but the one who cracked the algorithm. Number 6. The death of apprenticeships. Apprenticeships were once a cornerstone of Britain's workforce, offering hands-on experience, stable income, and a clear path into skilled trades. Today, that system is crumbling. Since 2016, the number of young people starting apprenticeships in the UK has fallen by over 40%, according to official government data. This collapse is leaving school leavers without practical entry points into the job market. While university remains heavily promoted, vocational routes are underfunded, poorly advertised, and often viewed as second-tier options, despite many offering better long-term earning potential than some degrees. For employers, the decline means a shrinking talent pipeline. Sectors like construction, engineering, and healthcare are already facing critical shortages, yet the pathways into these industries are drying up. Many firms find the apprenticeship system too bureaucratic or costly to manage, leading them to cut programs entirely. Meanwhile, young people who don't attend university are left with limited choices, low-paying, unstable gigs, or unemployment. The result is a growing population of youth who feel forgotten by the system, despite having the potential to thrive with the right support. This void is also widening regional inequality. In smaller towns and rural areas, apprenticeships were often the main ladder to success. Without them, entire communities are losing opportunities for upward mobility. The lack of real-world, paid training means more young workers are stuck in cycles of temp work, constantly job hunting with little room to grow. Rebuilding Britain's job market isn't just about creating more roles, it's about restoring the rungs on the career ladder. And that means investing in apprenticeships that actually lead somewhere, not letting them vanish into history. Number 7. Economic policy paralysis. Britain's job market isn't just struggling because of global trends, it's also being choked by political indecision. In recent years, the UK has experienced a whirlwind of leadership changes, economic U-turns, and mixed messages about everything from Brexit to business taxation. This constant back and forth has left employers uncertain about the future. When businesses don't know what's coming next, trade rules, labor laws, investment incentives, they freeze. And when they freeze, hiring stops. It's not that they don't need workers. It's that they're too nervous to expand without clear guidance. Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, which employ over 60% of the UK workforce, are the most affected. These companies don't have the luxury of absorbing policy shocks like larger firms do. They wait, they pause hiring, or they shift to short-term contracts to avoid long-term risk. What could have been a period of post-pandemic recovery has instead become a stretch of hesitation and stagnation, driven not by lack of demand, but by lack of confidence. Talented workers are ready, but opportunities are being held hostage by uncertainty. This paralysis also damages innovation and progress. Sectors like green energy, digital tech, and advanced manufacturing need stable policy to grow and to create new jobs. But with frequent changes in direction and a lack of long-term strategy, investors pull back and companies delay major projects. The result is a labor market that looks fine at a glance, but is actually starved of momentum. Without decisive, long-range economic leadership, Britain isn't just losing time. It's losing its competitive edge and leaving thousands of skilled workers waiting in limbo. Number 8. The mental health crisis. Mental health is now one of the biggest factors quietly reshaping the UK job market. According to the Office for National Statistics, over 2.8 million working-age adults are currently classified as economically inactive due to long-term health issues, with mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, and burnout being the most reported causes. This isn't a marginal issue. It's a full-blown crisis that's reducing the size of the active workforce and pushing capable people out of employment. The job market isn't just missing workers, it's losing them to stress, exhaustion, and untreated trauma. Modern work culture has become relentlessly demanding, with constant connectivity, tight deadlines, and rising living costs adding to the pressure. For many, especially young adults, the workplace is no longer just about earning a wage. It's become a source of chronic mental strain. And when people do reach out for help, NHS mental health services are overwhelmed, with waiting lists stretching into months or even years. That delay means workers are often forced to choose between their health and their job, and many are stepping away entirely. This crisis also has ripple effects. When experienced workers leave due to mental health issues, businesses lose institutional knowledge, productivity drops, and remaining employees face increased workloads, deepening the cycle. Meanwhile, job seekers with mental health histories often face silent discrimination, making re-entry into the workforce even harder. The reality is clear. A healthy economy can't exist without a mentally healthy workforce. Until mental health is treated with the same urgency as physical health, the UK job market will continue to lose people not because they can't work, but because they can't afford to keep suffering while they do. Number 9. Gig work isn't a safety net anymore. Gig work was once seen as a flexible fallback, offering quick income and autonomy when full-time jobs were scarce. But that illusion is fading fast. Platforms like Uber, Deliveroo, and Fiverr are now oversaturated, with too many workers competing for too few gigs. The Trades Union Congress, TUC, reported that by 2024, average earnings in gig roles had fallen over 20% compared to 2020, even as living costs soared. What used to be a lifeline is now a low-pay trap, where many work full-time hours but still earn below the poverty threshold. For many, gig work now means juggling multiple apps, waiting hours between jobs, and covering their own fuel, equipment, and insurance. And because gig workers are usually classified as self-employed, they don't receive holiday pay, sick leave, or pensions. That creates a cycle of financial instability. People take gig jobs to survive, but those jobs leave them unable to build any real security. It's a system designed for temporary hustle, not long-term survival. Yet increasingly, it's all that's available to many workers who've been locked out of traditional employment. This isn't just a personal problem, it's a structural one. As more people turn to the gig economy out of necessity, official employment figures appear stable, masking the truth. Full-time jobs with benefits are shrinking and precarious. Underpaid work is taking their place. Young workers, migrants, and career switchers are especially vulnerable. And while tech companies profit, the workers who power the system face burnout, unpredictability, and poverty wages. The gig economy promised freedom, but for many, it's turned into a modern-day labor trap with no safety net in sight. Number 10. Housing crisis killing mobility. Once upon a time, if you couldn't find work where you lived, you simply moved to where the jobs were. Today, that's no longer realistic for millions in the UK. The housing crisis has turned geographic mobility, a key driver of employment, into a luxury. With rents rising at over 9% annually and average home prices far outpacing wage growth, relocating for work isn't just difficult, it's often impossible. Even if a job opportunity exists in another city, the cost of moving, deposits, and higher living expenses can quickly wipe out the financial benefit. This immobility traps job seekers in areas with limited prospects, while businesses in high-growth regions struggle to find talent. It's a lose-lose scenario. Cities like London, Bristol, and Edinburgh might offer more roles, but they're also among the least affordable places to live. Shared flats, long commutes from cheaper zones, and overcrowding have become the norm. For those with families, the barriers are even steeper. Schools, childcare, and transport make moving for work a logistical and financial nightmare. The result? Many simply don't apply for jobs outside their immediate region, even when they're qualified. Social housing shortages add another layer. Waiting lists for council homes stretch into years, and private rentals often demand huge upfront payments. So even with the will to move, the means are missing. This lack of mobility bottlenecks the labor market, causing regional job imbalances and wasted talent. People aren't choosing to be unemployed, they're being priced out of opportunity. Until housing becomes accessible and affordable across the UK, the job market will stay uneven, with roles unfilled not for lack of skill, but because the workers simply can't afford to get there. Britain's job market isn't broken by accident. It's being quietly reshaped by forces most people never see or hear about. From fake job listings to invisible AI takeovers, from the collapse of apprenticeships to the rise of burnout, the system isn't just failing to create opportunities, it's actively locking people out. The numbers might look stable on headlines, but behind every statistic is a story of someone qualified, willing, and ready to work, who's been sidelined by outdated policies, unchecked technology, and structural blind spots. And maybe you felt it too, the endless applications, the ghost interviews, the rejections with no explanation. You're not imagining it. You're living in a market that's been hollowed out from the inside. But awareness is the first step to pushing for change. If more people understand what's really going on, pressure builds. Discussions start. Solutions follow. So now, we want to hear from you. Have you been ghosted by a job listing? Do you think AI has impacted your role or industry? Have you felt overqualified but underemployed? Drop your story in the comments. We actually read them, and your voice matters more than you think. And if you found this video eye-opening, make sure to check out our previous episode on the rise of useless jobs. Are you in one? It connects directly to everything we've covered today. We put a lot of time, research, and energy into creating content that actually uncovers the truth. So if you appreciate that, support us. It takes just one click to subscribe, but it means the world to us. Until next time, stay informed and don't settle for silence in a system that's already too quiet.